is a sphygmomanometer? Well, it is an instrument for measuring blood pressure, typically consisting of an inflatable rubber cuff, which is applied to the arm, ear, and connected to a column of mercury next to a graduated scale, enabling the determination of systolic and diastolic blood pressure by increasing and gradually releasing the pressure of the cuff. Bladder. The bladder, also called the cuff, is a long rubber bag about 6 inches wide and 24 inches long that is covered with fabric. The bladder is wrapped around the patient's arm and filled with the air when taking the patient's blood pressure. It's here. Hand valve. The hand valve is a device for inflating the bladder. When squeezed, the hand valve forces the air through an opening connected to the tubing. When the valve is released, it refills with air from the environment. The hand valve is designed so that the air from the tubing cannot flow back into the hand valve. Rubber tubes. One tube connects the bladder and hand valve. Air that is forced out of the hand valve travels through the tube and enters the bladder. A second tube connects the bladder and the gauge. Release valve. The release valve screw is a device for releasing air from the bladder. It is located between the hand valve and the tubing. One hand can operate both the hand valve and the release valve easily. The valve is controlled by a screw. When tightened, no air escapes. When unscrewed fully, the air escapes rapidly. Note: the screw does not separate from the apparatus. Unscrewed fully means the screw is turned so that air will escape as fast as possible. Gauge. The gauge measures the air pressure in the bladder. There are two types of gauges, the mercury gauge and the aneroid gauge. Mercury gauge. The mercury gauge has a column of mercury in a glass tube. The column of mercury measures the air pressure in the bladder. The higher the pressure of air in the bladder, the higher the column of mercury. The height of the column of mercury is determined using a scale to the side of the tube containing the mercury. Aneroid. The aneroid gauge is circular and has a dial. The greater the air pressure in the bladder, the farther the needle on the dial rotates. A scale on the dial is equivalent to the scale for the mercury gauge. Both scales measure the force of air pressure in the bladder in terms of mmHg. As the air pressure is released, the needle moves in a counterclockwise direction. Stethoscope. The stethoscope is an instrument used for listening to the sounds produced within the body. A stethoscope consists of diaphragm, metal and rubber tubing, and earpieces. Diaphragm. The diaphragm is normally a flat metal disc that is placed on the body area being examined. The diaphragm will pick up sounds produced within the body, such as the heartbeat and breathing sounds. Sometimes, a bell-shaped listening device is used instead of a flat disc. Some stethoscopes have combination, both flat disc and bell, listening devices. tubing. The hollow and metal tubes transmit the sounds from the diaphragm to the earpieces. The rubber tubing provides flexibility. Earpieces. The earpieces are twisted metal tubes with plastic ends. The plastic pieces protect the ears from the metal. The twisting helps to improve the quality of sound heard through the stethoscope. The stethoscope should be worn with the earpieces forward to help prevent the sounds picked up by the diaphragm from being distorted.